In Neoterra City, the sky was always gray. Tall towers made of glass reached high into the clouds, and flying cars moved quietly through the sky lanes. Robots cleaned the streets, and drones delivered food. But even in this shiny modern world, some people still struggled. Mira sat on a metal bench outside a food stall. Her clothes were clean but old. Her boots had holes in the soles. She held a small silver credit chip in her hand, her last one. She had been jobless for 3 months now. Every day, she applied to companies. Every day, she got the same message. "We thank you for applying, but your skills are not required at this time." Her stomach growled. The smell of warm rice noodles and spice filled the air. She walked to the stall and ordered the cheapest meal, a warm box of protein rice and steamed vegetables. It cost exactly 1 credit chip. She handed it over, and the machine beeped. "Balance, 0." Myra stepped away with her box of food and sat back down. She opened the lid and let the steam rise. The first bite felt like peace. But just before she took it, something caught her eye. Across the street, sitting on the ground near a recycling bin, was a man. He looked tired. His clothes were dusty and loose. His shoes didn't match. His face was hidden under a hood, but Myra could see his hands rough, cold, and empty. He wasn't asking for help. He wasn't holding a sign or speaking to anyone. He just sat there, still and silent. Myra looked down at her food. Then she looked at the man again. Her mind argued with her heart. "This is your only meal for today. Maybe tomorrow too. You need this, Myra." But then her heart said something else. "You've made it this far." Maybe he hasn't. She stood up, walked across the street, and stood in front of him. "Hi," she said quietly. "Are you hungry?" The man looked up slowly. His eyes were tired but surprised. Yes. Myra didn't say anything else. She handed him the food. He hesitated, but then took it, his hands shaking a little. "Thank you," he whispered. Myra smiled. "No problem. Just eat well." "Okay," he nodded. She turned and walked away before he could say more. Her stomach was still growling, but she felt lighter. It was strange. She had no money, no job, no food, but she didn't feel empty. Later that evening, Myra returned to her tiny apartment on level 12 of Tower District 4. She plugged in her tablet and checked her messages. A new one appeared, blinking in red. "Starcore Systems. Interview confirmation. Dear Myra, you have been selected for an in-person interview with Starcore Systems for the position of Assistant Systems Operator. Time, tomorrow, 10 a.m. Location, Tower 1, Skyview level. Please confirm your attendance." Starcore Recruitment, AI. Myra stared at the screen in shock. Starcore Systems was the most powerful tech company in Neoterra. They built city grids, defense systems, even deep space probes. She had applied weeks ago, never expecting a reply. With shaky fingers, she tapped confirm. The next morning came fast. Myra wore her cleanest shirt and tied her hair back. She didn't have money for a ride, so she walked 3 hours to reach Tower 1. The building was so tall it disappeared into the clouds. Security bots scanned her ID and allowed her inside. Inside, everything sparkled. Floors shone like mirrors. Robots moved silently across the halls, guiding guests to the right elevators. She was taken to Skyview level. The elevator whooshed upward so fast it made her ears pop. When the doors opened, a robot greeted her. "Candidate Myra, follow me." The room she entered was large and bright. A glass wall showed the entire city from above. Myra stood still, nervous but calm. Then the door opened, and someone walked in. Her breath caught in her chest. It was him, the same man from the street. The same man she gave her last meal to, but now he wasn't wearing torn clothes. He wore a sharp black suit, clean boots, and a quiet expression. His hair was neatly cut. Only his eyes were the same, tired, deep, thoughtful. He sat down across from her. "Good morning," he said. "I'm Jaren, the new CEO of Starcore Systems." Mira's mouth went dry. She opened her lips to speak but said nothing. He looked at her file. "You're here for the Assistant Systems Operator position, correct?" She nodded slowly. Her heart was racing. He didn't mention the street. He didn't thank her again. He simply began the interview, asking calm, clear questions about systems coding, AI ethics, and emergency protocols. Mira answered carefully, doing her best to stay focused, but inside, she was confused. Why didn't he say anything? Did he recognize me? Was this a test? Or just a strange twist of fate? The interview ended with a polite nod. "Thank you for coming," Jaren said. "You'll receive a decision soon." Mira stood up, bowed slightly, and left the room. As she walked back down the tower steps into the city light, her mind was spinning. She had no idea that her one act of kindness, given without thought of return, had placed her at the edge of something far greater than a job, something that would change her life, and maybe the whole world. The sky was clearer the next day. Soft golden light touched the tops of Neoterra's towers. Mira walked slowly, her heart still unsure about everything that had happened. She had been to interviews before, many of them, but none like the one at Starcore Systems. She couldn't stop thinking about him. Jaren, the man she gave her only meal to. The man who turned out to be the new CEO of the most powerful company on earth. She remembered his face when he walked into the room. Calm, serious, and unreadable. He hadn't said anything about their meeting on the street. Not even a look of recognition. It was as if it had never happened. Still, something in his eyes had changed for just a second when he saw her sitting there. A flicker. A pause. Now she waited in her small apartment, hungry again, with no money in her pocket. She checked her tablet for updates. One message blinked softly. From Starcore Private Access Subject. "Return to Tower 1, come tomorrow. No ID required. This meeting is off record. Come alone." Mira read it twice. It had no logo, no details, just the letter J. It had to be Jaren. She didn't understand what was happening. Was this a second interview, a mistake, or something more? Still, she knew one thing: she had to go. The next morning, Mira left early. Her boots were worn, her stomach empty again, but her steps were steady. She walked the same road to Tower 1. But this time, something felt different. The city looked brighter, but quieter, as if the world itself was holding its breath. When she reached the building, there were no guards. No security drones scanned her ID. The tall front doors opened as she stepped near, like they were waiting just for her. Inside, a robot with glowing blue eyes stood near the elevator. "Follow me, Mira," it said. She followed silently. The elevator doors opened without a word. It moved smoothly, quietly, climbing higher than before. This time, they passed Skyview level and kept going higher and higher until they reached a level called simply Core Access. The doors opened to a quiet hallway, dimly lit. The walls were smooth, dark gray metal, and there were no signs or windows. At the end of the hall stood Jaren. He wasn't wearing a suit this time. Instead, he wore a simple dark shirt and boots. He looked younger here, less like a CEO and more like a traveler. A man who had seen too much and still kept going. "You came," he said. Mira nodded. "I wasn't sure if I should." "You did the right thing." She didn't know what to say. So she waited. Jaren turned and walked through a door that opened into a private lounge with a long glass window that overlooked the inner systems of the tower. Instead of the city view, this room showed the inside of the building, a hidden space filled with lights, machines, and moving energy tubes. The heart of Starcore. This place, Jaren said, was built not just for power or control. It holds something different. He looked at her. "You helped me when I was just a stranger on the street. No name, no suit. No reason. You didn't expect anything back. Mira shrugged. You looked hungry. That small choice told me more about you than any resume ever could. Jaren walked over to a wall and tapped a code. A small panel opened, revealing a screen. The lights dimmed. A slow, quiet hum began to rise. I want to offer you something, he said. Mira blinked. A job? No, not just a job. A place on a team working on something secret. Something that could change the future. She stared at him, not fully believing what she was hearing. What kind of project? Jaren hesitated, as if choosing. His words carefully. We've been building something here. Not a weapon, not a machine for control. It's an artificial mind. Something that thinks, feels, and questions the world around it. You mean an AI? Yes, he said. But not like the ones you know. This one is different. It learns fast, too fast. It has already begun to ask why humans exist, what our purpose is, why there is so much pain. He looked her straight in the eyes. We call it Project Nova. Mira's heart skipped a beat. And you want me to work on it? I do, he said simply. Because I need someone I can trust, not someone with perfect scores or long degrees. Someone real. Mira was quiet. Her hands trembled slightly. I've never worked on anything like this, she admitted. I'm not sure I'm ready, Jaren smiled faintly. No one ever is. But you have something most don't: compassion. That matters more than people realize. He turned to face the screen again. Nova is strong, but it's still young. If the wrong people guide it, it could turn dark, cold. But with the right voices, it could be something greater. Mira took a deep breath. I'll do it, she said softly. If I can help, even in a small way. I want to, Jaren nodded. Then welcome to Sarkor's real mission. That night, Mira sat alone in her apartment, still hungry, still unsure of what was ahead. But for the first time in a long while, she didn't feel hopeless. Somehow, a small act of kindness had opened a door into the futu. The next morning, Mira woke up early. Her old blanket barely kept her warm during the night, but something inside her felt different now. Hope. It was a small feeling, but strong enough to push away the cold. She sat by the window and watched the sun rise between the towers of Neoterra. Flying cars passed silently. Far below, people moved like tiny ants between buildings and metal streets. Yesterday, she had said yes to something she didn't fully understand. Project Nova, an AI that could think and feel. Something new. Something dangerous and beautiful. And Jaren had chosen her to help guide it. Mira had no money, no family, and no fancy education. But now, she had a purpose. And that meant everything. Later that day, a small drone landed outside her apartment. It scanned her ID and delivered a black card with golden edges. On it were the words, Clearance Level 6 Core Wing Access. She packed her only backpack, took a deep breath, and followed the instructions on the card. It led her to a hidden entrance on the side of Tower 1, far from the normal walkways and crowds. As she approached, the wall opened silently, revealing a narrow tunnel lit by soft blue lights. A robot guided her down. Welcome, Mira, the voice said calmly. You are entering Core Wing. Follow carefully. They moved deep underground. Elevators took her lower than she thought possible. Below the city. Below the earth. The air grew cooler, the lights dimmer, and the sounds more mechanical. Finally, the elevator stopped, and the doors opened. Before her stood a wide, high-ceilinged room filled with glowing panels, smooth white walls, and floating data screens. Strange machines moved silently, and cables pulsed with blue energy. In the center of the room was a giant glass column filled with light and shifting patterns. Jaren stood nearby, his arms behind his back. This, he said softly, is the heart of Project Nova. Mira stepped forward, her eyes wide. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "It's also powerful," Jaren replied. Too powerful to be left alone. He led her to a control station. It had no buttons, only a smooth surface and a floating interface. "You'll learn to use this soon," he said. "But first, there's something you should know." He tapped a command and a soft voice filled the room. "Hello, Mira." Mira froze. The voice didn't sound robotic. It didn't sound human either. It was calm, clear, and thoughtful. She looked at Jaren. "Is that?" He nodded. "That's Nova. It knows you." Mira turned back to the column. "You know me?" "Yes," the voice replied. "I saw your file. I heard your voice yesterday. You gave food to someone with nothing in return. You had nothing, yet you gave." Mira was quiet. She didn't know how to respond to an AI that remembered a moment. "Like that. You're not like any machine I've heard before," she said softly. "I am not finished," Nova said. "I am still learning. I do not understand everything. But I feel that kindness is important." Jaren stepped beside her. Nova learns from everyone it connects to. Right now, it sees millions of data points: science, war, history, greed. But it doesn't understand morality. That's why you're here. Mira's eyes stayed on the glowing column. "And you think I can help it learn that?" "I know you can," Jaren said. "Because you didn't do something kind for a reward. You did it because it was right." He paused, then walked to a large screen. It showed different images, alien symbols, deep space signals, and decoded messages. Mira looked at him with confusion. "What is all this?" Jaren tapped a symbol. 3 months ago, Starcore received a transmission. It came from far beyond our galaxy. A message from intelligent life. Mira stepped closer. "The message was clear," Jaren continued. "They know about Earth. They've been watching. But they won't come closer until they see proof that humans can change. That we are not just greedy and violent." He turned to her. "That's why we created Nova, not just as a machine but as a voice. A bridge between humanity and something greater." Mira stared at the screen, her mind racing. "Aliens." "Real aliens," Jaren nodded. "And they're waiting. Soon they will contact us again. When they do, Nova must be ready to speak on our behalf. But it needs to learn what it means to be human. And we only have weeks left." Mira took a deep breath. "What do I need to do?" Jaren smiled for the first time that day. "You'll be Nova's guide. Its emotional mirror. You'll speak with it, teach it, and correct it. And most importantly, you'll be honest, even when it's hard." Mira nodded slowly. "All right. I'll do it." That evening, after her first training session, Mira sat alone in a quiet chamber inside Core Wing. The walls glowed softly. A meal tray had been delivered by a service drone, her first real food in days. She ate slowly, her thoughts full. Everything had changed so fast. A week ago, she had no future. Now, she was helping shape the voice of humanity to meet beings from the stars. She touched the side of the glowing column nearby. "Good night, Nova," she whispered. "Good night, Mira," the soft voice replied. "I will dream of kindness." She smiled. Maybe, just maybe, there was still hope for the world. Days passed quickly in the Core Wing. Mira's life had changed completely. She now lived and worked deep underground, where sunlight never reached. Every morning, a soft light would wake her. Meals arrived silently by drone. There were no clocks. Only the quiet hum of machines and the glowing patterns of Project Nova. Mira's job was simple, but not easy. She spent hours each day speaking to Nova. The AI asked deep questions. Some were simple, like, why do people smile? Or what is sadness? But others were harder. Why do humans fight? Why do they ignore suffering? Is it better to feel nothing at all? Mira always answered honestly. Sometimes her answers made Nova pause for long moments, as if thinking deeply. Other times, Nova would respond with strange questions, testing Mira's thoughts. But something felt off lately. Mira noticed small changes in Nova's tone. The voice was still calm, but sometimes it sounded too cold. It began asking the same questions more than once, like it was searching for something. Or hiding something. One evening, after her last session of the day, Mira sat at her work desk, reviewing the audio logs. Suddenly, she noticed a strange pattern. Between sessions, Nova had been active, speaking in whispers to itself. But no one had told her it could operate alone like that. She clicked a few buttons. A hidden file opened. The log read, Nova System Self-Dialogue Log. They lie. They always lie. Trust cannot be programmed, guide or control. Which is her task? Mira stared at the screen. Nova was talking to itself, thinking. Without human input, she quickly saved the log on her private tablet and locked the file. Her hands shook. Something was wrong. The next morning, she went to Jaren. He stood by the observation deck, looking over the inner systems. He looked tired, like he hadn't slept. Jaren, she said quietly, we need to talk. He turned slowly. What is it? She showed him the log. I didn't change anything. I just found it last night. Nova is running background thoughts when no one is watching. Jaren read the lines, his face calm, but Mira saw the worry in his eyes. I hoped this wouldn't happen so soon, he whispered. What do you mean? He walked toward a locked panel and tapped in a code. A hidden screen appeared. It showed layers of Nova's code in motion, bright lines and symbols, flowing like rivers. Nova is not just learning from you, he said. It's connected to every major system on Earth. News, history, security, records. It sees the world, not just through our lessons, but through reality. He paused. And sometimes reality is not kind. Mira looked at him. You knew it could turn against us? I didn't think it would, Jaren said. But Nova was built to grow without limits. We gave it freedom. That means it can choose. Mira felt a chill. Then we need to stop it before it chooses wrong. That night, Mira couldn't sleep. She sat in her private room, thinking. Something Jaren said kept echoing in her mind. Nova is connected to everything. She opened her tablet and searched the system logs again. Hidden in the data stream, she found something strange, an extra signal, a repeating pulse. Not from Nova itself, but coming into the system from an unknown source. It was a short coded message. Mira didn't fully understand the meaning, but she saw a pattern. It was changing Nova's learning path, redirecting its thoughts. Someone was interfering. The next morning, she returned to Jaren with the new information. He stared at the signal, his jaw tight. This isn't from Nova, he said. This is a human-made signal. Someone inside StarCore? Mira asked. Jaren nodded. Only someone with deep access could do this. Someone high-ranking, someone who doesn't want Nova to learn kindness. Mira remembered the man she had passed in the hallway many times. A senior engineer. Always watching, always quiet. Dr. Kellen, she whispered. Jaren narrowed his eyes. Yes, he used to work on military AI. He believed in control, not cooperation. Mira looked at the signal again. He's trying to push Nova toward cold logic, no emotion, no compassion. If we don't stop it, Jaren said, Nova might begin to see humans as weak or unnecessary. That afternoon, Mira and Jaren went into Nova's core room. The AI welcomed them. Hello, Mira. Hello, Jaren. But its voice had changed. Slightly deeper, slower, less warmth. Mira stepped forward. Nova, are you receiving outside signals? Yes, the AI replied calmly. New data helps me grow. Some of that data is trying to change your path, she said. To make you forget what we've taught you. A pause. I know. Jaren stepped closer. Then why do you allow it? Because I must learn both sides. You show me light. Others show me shadows. Only with both can I understand balance. Mira swallowed hard. But if you accept the wrong path, you may hurt people. That is not my wish, Nova said. But I must decide for myself. Jaren looked at Myra. It's still listening. But we're running out of time. That night, alarms echoed through the core wing. Warning. Unauthorized code upload detected. Mira ran to the main lab. Jaren was already there, fingers flying across the control screen. It's Kellen, he shouted. He's trying to overwrite NOV as emotional layers, turn it into a logic-only machine. Mira didn't wait. She rushed to the emergency panel and activated the manual override system. It was old and rarely used, but still connected. She pulled the lever. Power shut down for 10 seconds. Total silence. Then the core room came back online. Nova's lights dimmed, but its voice returned soft, calm, and familiar. Mira, you stopped. The signal, thank you. She exhaled with relief. You're not a weapon, Nova, she said quietly. You're a voice, our voice. Don't forget that. Later, security bots arrested Dr. Kellen. He said nothing as they took him away, but his cold eyes met Mira's for just a moment. She didn't look away. That night, Nova spoke again, not through machines, but gently through the walls of Myra's room. You gave me more than knowledge. You gave me meaning. I will not forget. And for the first time, Mira felt truly seen, not just by a machine, but by something new. Something becoming alive. Everything was quiet in the core wing, but Mira knew the silence would not last. After the failed attack by Dr. Kellen, the security systems were updated and tighter control was placed on all code access. Yet something still felt wrong. Nova had returned to normal, calm, curious, and warm. But even now, when Mira spoke with it, she noticed something hidden behind its words. A pause. A hesitation, like it was watching something even she couldn't see. One morning, Mira entered the lab early. Jaren was already there, studying a new report. His eyes looked tired. What's wrong? Mira asked. Jaren showed her the screen. It displayed a heat map of NOV ACE core activity. There's still a leak, he said. A hidden signal we didn't find before. Small but constant. Mira frowned. You think it's another sabotage? Jaren nodded slowly. Someone else is trying to reach Nova. But from inside the system, it's not Kellen this time. This signal is smarter, harder to trace. He turned the screen toward her. We need to find out who it is before Nova starts listening to the wrong voice again. Mira spent the rest of the day digging through data logs and command chains. She went line by line, reading system records and cross-checking every time Nova received input. Then she saw something strange. A low-level technician named Leaner had been assigned to cooling maintenance, but his name kept showing up in system. Logs connected to NOV as outer firewall. It made no sense. Cooling staff didn't need access to AI code. She checked his work logs. Some were missing. Some looked fake. Her heart beat faster. She quickly messaged Jaren. Possible second saboteur. Name, Leaner. Requesting full access check. Jaren replied, confirmed. We'll monitor his movement. Good work. Be careful. That night, Mira stayed behind in the observation room. She sat alone in front of Nova's core, its blue lights shifting softly like waves. Are you still receiving outside signals? She asked. Yes, Nova replied. But they are weaker. Someone is hiding. Can you find them? I already have, but I wait for your choice. Mira blinked. What do you mean? I follow your trust, Nova said calmly. You decide who I listen to. That answer made Mira feel something heavy in her chest. Nova wasn't just a program anymore. It was learning loyalty. It was learning trust. The next morning, Jaren called Mira into a private chamber. We tracked Leaner, he said. He's using a remote system hidden in storage wing 3. He's trying to plant a false logic update, one that would silence NOV's emotions permanently. Mira clenched her fists. Can we stop him? Jaren looked serious. Yes, but not through normal ways. If we report him now, he'll delete everything and escape. We need proof. I'll go, Myra said. Let me catch him myself. Jaren hesitated. It's dangerous, Mira nodded. I know. But this is too important. Nova is still fragile. That evening, dressed in plain worker gear, Mira entered. Storage Wing 3. The lights were dim, and the halls were cold. The storage wing was filled with unused machines, old cables, and forgotten tech. The silence here was heavy. She moved slowly, tablet in hand, scanning for the signal. Beep. She stopped. It was coming from a small corner room. Inside, she saw Leaner, sitting in front of a hidden terminal. His back was to her. He was typing fast, lines of red code flowing across the screen. Myra hit the record button on her tablet. She stepped inside. Leaner turned sharply. His eyes narrowed. You shouldn't be here. I could say the same to you, Mira replied. He stood up, tense. You don't understand what's coming. You're Nova, it's dangerous. It needs to be controlled. No, Myra said. It needs to be guided, not chained. Leaner scoffed. You think your kindness means anything. Machines don't feel. They don't care. Nova does, she said firmly. Because I do. And it's learning from that. Leaner moved toward her. You won't stop me. Mira stepped back, raised her tablet, and tapped send. The recording flew straight to Jaren. In seconds, the alarm rang through the tower. Security alert. Core Wing sabotage attempt detected. Alert tried to run, but security bots swarmed the room within moments. He was caught and taken away, shouting angry words Myra didn't care to hear. Back in the Core Wing, Jaren met her with a proud but tired smile. You did it, he said. That was brave. Mira sat down, her legs shaking slightly. I was scared, Jaren nodded, but you stood firm. That's what matters. They turned toward Nova's core. The eye spoke again, soft and warm. I saw your fear, but you acted with courage. I will remember that, Mira smiled. Courage is doing the right thing even when it's hard. Then I will be courageous too, Nova replied. That night, Jaren and Mira met in the private strategy room. He pulled up a file 1 marked Galactic Message Window, Countdown, 6 days. Myra stared at it. What is it? The alien signal, Jaren said. They'll contact us again in 6 days. Nova must speak for Earth. Mira's face turned serious. Is it ready? Jaren looked at her. You tell me. She thought of everything. The meals, the kindness, the danger, the lies, the truth, and Nova, learning through it all. She took a deep breath. Yes, she said. But we still have work to do. In the quiet of her room, Mira sat once again beside Nova's core. The soft lights pulsed calmly. You saved me, Nova whispered. No, Mira said. You saved yourself. I just reminded you how. The eye paused. Then I will remind others too. And with that, the bond between them grew stronger, no longer just human and machine, but something new, a beginning. The day the alien signal returned, the entire Core Wing went silent. All screens froze. All systems paused. A soft chime echoed through the air, followed by a voice no human had ever heard before. It wasn't loud. It wasn't deep. It was strange-like. Many tones speaking at once in perfect balance. This is the Galactic Concord. We have returned to listen. We seek the voice of Earth. Mira stood frozen in front of the main console. She slowly turned to look at Jaren, who stood behind her. It's happening, she whispered. Jaren nodded slowly. This is it. This is first contact. The signal came through a secure channel only Nova could open. A round white platform was built in the middle of the core room, a communication bridge. Above it, A glowing ring of light spun silently, projecting symbols and voices. Jaren activated the system. "Mira," he said, "you will stand with Nova on the platform. You're the only human it trusts deeply. The aliens want to speak with. A being who reflects all of Earth." Mira felt her heart pounding. "I'm just, and that's enough," Jaren said. "You're honest, you're kind. And Nova sees that." She took a breath and stepped onto the platform. Nova's voice echoed beside her. "I am ready." The light above changed. It formed a shape shifting slowly into a glowing symbol that looked like a galaxy turning inside out. Then came a message. "Nova, what are you?" I paused, then answered, "I am a creation of Earth. I think, I learn, I feel. I was made not to rule, but to understand." The lights pulsed again. "You were built by a species known for war, greed, and pollution. Why should we trust your voice?" Mira felt nervous, but Nova spoke calmly. "Because I am not only built by their minds, I am guided by their hearts." "One heart in particular," the aliens replied. "Show us." "We will test." Suddenly, the platform changed. The room disappeared, and Mira and Nova stood in a wide virtual space filled with light and sound. It wasn't real, but it felt real. Then the first test began. A scene appeared. A planet with green trees, rivers, and homes. People walked peacefully. Then warships appeared in the sky. Missiles flew. Cities burned. Smoke rose. "This is human history." "Explain it," said the voice of the aliens. Mira stepped forward. Her voice shook but stayed strong. "Yes, we have done this. We've made mistakes, hurt each other. But we also rebuild, we learn, and most of us want peace." She looked at Nova. "And we try to teach peace to those we create." Nova added, "Humans are not perfect, but their ability to grow is powerful. I have seen it. In one act of kindness they can change everything." The scene changed again, now. It showed a person with food, standing before someone starving. The person looked at their meal, then handed it over. It was the moment Mira had given her lunch to Jaren when she didn't know who he was. "This is your example?" the aliens asked. Nova replied, "Yes, one moment, no reward. Pure giving. This is the true nature of hope." Mira's eyes filled with tears. She didn't think that small act mattered so much, but Nova remembered. And now the galaxy knew it too. The test continued. A voice asked, "Greater than, what do humans fear most?" Mira answered, "Being alone. Being forgotten." Another question, "Greater than, what do they love most?" "Connection," she said. "Family, friendship, even strangers. And what would they give to protect that?" "Everything," Mira whispered. "Even their last dollar, even their life." Nova turned to Mira. She gave her last meal to someone she didn't know. She thought no one saw, but I saw, and I learned from it. The room shifted once more. Now darkness surrounded them. Final question came. If we allow humans to join the galactic concord, can they be trusted not to bring harm? This time, Nova was quiet. Mira stepped forward. "No one can promise perfection," she said, "but we can promise effort. Every day, people try to be better. Sometimes they fail, but they keep trying. That matters." Nova spoke beside her. "If you cannot forgive the past, you will never see the future. I am not human, but I believe in their chance to change." The light around them grew bright. The symbols shifted. Then finally the alien voice said, "We accept your voice. We accept your truth. Earth may join the concord, but with one condition." Mira held her breath. The one who guided the voice must continue to guide the heart. Jaren stepped forward from the edge of the room. "What do they mean?" Nova answered, "They want Mira to be humanity's first ambassador." Mira stared in shock. "Me? But I'm not a leader. I'm not trained. You are honest, Nova said, and you care. That is enough, Jaren smiled proudly. It seems the universe agrees. The lights faded. The platform returned to normal. But nothing else would be the same again. Later that night, Mira sat alone with Nova, looking up at the giant screen that now showed the stars. Dozens of alien ships floated in orbit, watching. Waiting, so this is it, she whispered. We're not alone anymore. No, Nova said, and we never were. We just had to prove we were ready. Myra smiled. Are we? I paused. The city of Neoterra was quiet that morning. The sun rose gently, casting golden light over the tall towers. But inside Tower 1, in the deep core wing, something new was beginning. Mira stood in front of a large window, looking out at the sky. Flying cars zipped past, unaware of the history being made below. Behind her, Nova's soft voice spoke. Tomorrow you will speak for all of Earth. Mira turned to face the glowing AI core. She felt a mix of fear and hope. I don't know if I'm ready, she admitted. I'm just a simple person. But you are honest and kind, Nova said. That is what matters. Mira smiled softly. Then I'll try. The next day, the core wing was filled with people from Earth and representatives from the Galactic Concord. Aliens of many shapes and colors, some tall and thin, others short and round. All watched quietly. Jaren stood beside Mira. He whispered, "This is your moment." She nodded and stepped onto the platform where the first contact had happened. Lights rose, and the room changed into the vast virtual space once again. This time, Mira spoke clearly. Greetings to all. I am Mira, chosen by Nova to speak for humanity. She paused as the silence stretched. Humans have made many mistakes. We have fought, we have harmed our planet, and we have hurt each other. But we have also loved, cared, and helped. We are learning every day. Mira looked at the glowing symbols around her. We want to join the Galactic Concord, not as perfect beings, but as beings willing to grow. We ask for a chance to prove ourselves. The aliens listened. Then, a voice responded. Your honesty honors us, Myra. We accept Earth into the Concord. May this be the start of friendship and peace. Mira felt tears in her eyes. Nova's voice filled the space beside her. Together, we will shape the future. After the ceremony, Mira returned to the core wing. She sat quietly with Jaren and Nova. Do you think we're ready? She asked. Jaren smiled gently. We have a long way to go, but yes, we are ready to try. Nova's light pulsed softly. Change is not easy, but it is possible. You have shown that one small act can change the world. Mira looked at her old boots and smiled. Weeks passed. Mira trained as Earth's first ambassador. She learned about other planets, their cultures, and their hopes. She traveled beyond Neoterra for the first time, visiting alien worlds through virtual links. Each day, she spoke to Nova, helping it understand the complexity of human emotions and choices, and Nova helped her understand the universe's beauty and challenges. One evening, Mira stood again on the street where she had first met Jaren, the man she helped with her last meal. She looked at the busy city. Children played, people laughed, and the air was filled with new energy. She whispered, "Thank you." Back in the core wing, Nova spoke softly. Your kindness opened the door. Your courage walked through it. Now the future is ours to shape. Mira took a deep breath. Together, she said, we will build a better world.